Almighty, once again ready to give you all the updates this beautiful evening. Over the last couple of days or weeks now, we have been in the international break, and national teams, countries have been squaring top from the African scene to the European scene to South America. Countries have been trying to get back into the, continental tournament. In Africa, it's been the African Cup of Nations qualifiers. In Europe, it's been the Euro qualifiers. And in Asia and South America also, they've been playing their own qualifiers. But I must tell you that all that will come to an end today. Today is the last day of the international break. From tomorrow morning, the last of the players who are playing or who will be playing tonight will start heading back to their clubs. So, let's say this evening is the last time we'll build up to an international game this week. And of course, don't forget that we are broadcasting live on Facebook. So quickly go now to www.facebook.com/Splash FM 105.5 and tell me how you think this international break has been for you. Have you been disappointed? Have you been bored? Or have you been impressed by the quality of football that some of these national teams have got on offer? We have seen goals, we've seen disappointments, we've seen shocking losses. How would you rate the first international break of 2023? Go on Facebook now and tell me what you think. Well, talking about the international break, I can tell you categorically that games are going on right now on the African scene and also on the European scene. In Africa, I can confirm to you that Senegal, the best team in Africa right now, are in action. And after 75 minutes of football played, it is Senegal leading by 1-0. Goal scored in the 18th minute of the encounter by Salernitana striker Boulaye Dia. Assisted, of course, by the star man himself, Sadio Mane. That's been the only goal that is so far separating Mozambique from Senegal right now. It's Mozambique at home taking on Senegal. And I can also tell you that also in Liberia, South Africa, well, they've come visiting. Remember that this same fixture just a couple of days ago in South Africa was a blockbuster, with South Africa leading in the first 30 minutes of the encounter by 2 goals. They were 2 goals ahead as early as the 30th minute. But somehow Liberia found a way from 2 goals down to get a 2-2 draw in South Africa. Now South Africa are trying to, correct that error. South Africa scored first, Liberia equalized, but in the 53rd minute, South Africa took the lead again. And that's how it's been. South Africa 2, Liberia 1. Also still on the African scene, Uganda currently taking on Tanzania. It's just 34 minutes on the clock in that game, and it's still goalless from both sides. Also, Mali currently away from home to Gambia. 74 minutes played, and it's also goalless. Let's also confirm to you that earlier today, there were some games played on the African scene also. A very surprising result, let me say. Namibia defeated Cameroon by 2-1 earlier today. But this time, they were not just able to come up behind the game because Namibia killed the game early in this one. Namibia scored the first goal. All the goals came in the second half, actually. Namibia scored the first goal in the 55th minute. By the 79th minute, it was Namibia 2-0. Late in the game, Vincent Abubakar got a consolatory goal for Cameroon, but there was no comeback in the horizon for Cameroon. This international break has been a one to forget for the country. Cameroon drew at home and lost away to Namibia. And earlier today, Egypt were the Egypt that we know. as they walloped Malawi by 4-0. Well, and of course, Liverpool fans will ask, did Mohamed Salah score? The right answer is yes. Mohamed Salah scored the third goal of the encounter. I must also say that, scoring is not all that Mohamed Salah did. He also assisted one of the 4 goals as Egypt ran away 4-0 winners earlier today against Malawi. Okay, quickly on the African scene now, let's quickly tell you how some of the tables look like. But before we do that, remember yesterday evening around this time, Nigeria were in action taking on Guinea-Bissau. And they were trying to actually, make it up for a horrible result, a horrible performance in Abuja, where they actually lost at home to Guinea-Bissau by 1-0. I'm not sure if you call that performance making it up, but they indeed won by 1-0. Although most Nigerians were not impressed by the performance of the Super Eagles of Nigeria in that game. But let's listen to the head coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, Jose Peseiro, talk about the performance and what he thinks. And let's see if Jose Peseiro was satisfied with the performance of his boys.
Like today, you create many opportunities. Today, the pitch was much better than in Abuja. But our team play an offensive game. Every time complain before the team play in the back, don't play in the offensive midfield opponent. Now we try development our organization, one team with the offensive process. He did a lot opportunity, many opportunity. You lose many opportunity one time more. I think he deserves in too much. He deserves beat Guinea in too much, both too much, and deserve to beat them, but no 1-0. 5-1 in the first match, and today 5-0, 6-0. Guinea didn't create one opportunity.
Well, there you just listen to the voice of Genojo saying we deserve to win 5-1 in Abuja and we deserve to win 6-0 in Guinea-Bissau. Do you agree with the Genotro's assessment? Do you think those two performances, the one in Abuja for the Super Eagles and the one in Guinea-Bissau yesterday, do you think the Super Eagles of Nigeria deserved to score 5 goals in Abuja? And do you think the Super Eagles of Nigeria deserved to score 6 goals in Guinea yesterday? That is what that's what Jose Peseiro seemed to think. I'm not sure which game Jose Peseiro saw, but then 6 goals in that game yesterday. Come on. Anyway, let's update you on how things look like on the table on the journey to the African Cup of Nations in 2025. In Group A, Nigeria returned to the summit of the table after defeating Guinea-Bissau yesterday. 4 games played now. They've won 3 and lost 1, and it's 9 points for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Guinea-Bissau second with 7 points. Sierra Leone third with 5 points, and it looks like Sao Tome are out of the race totally with 1 point from 4 games. Let's tell you that 2 teams will qualify from each group. In Group B, Burkina Faso top of the table with 9 maximum points from 3 games. Cape Verde second with 7 points. Eswatini and Togo looks to be out of the race right now with 2 and 1 points respectively. Namibia in Group C tops the table after their win earlier today. Cameroon second with 4 points. Namibia has 5 points right now. Burundi 1 point. Kenya points. 0 points from, Kenya have actually pulled out of this process, so they're not playing. And in Group D, Egypt top of the table with 9 points. Guinea also joined top with 9 points also after 4 games, but they have both won 3 and lost 1. Egypt only topping the table based on goal difference. And in Group E, Ghana top of the table, 8 points. Central African Republic second with 7 points. Unfortunately, we will not be able to go through all the groups right now. Well, let's also confirm to you that on the European scene, well, a game is going down right about now. It is Georgia against Norway. Time check on that game is 82nd minute on the clock right about now, and it's 1-1 between Georgia and Norway. Norway took the lead early in the game, 15th minute, from Real Sociedad striker Alexander Soloff. And then in the 60th minute, on the stroke of an hour, Georgia equalized through Georges Mikutaze. Thank God I was able to pronounce that. And that's how it's been since the 60th minute. It's 1-1 between both sides. Well, more games are set to go down later today. But of course, before we get into that, let's leave football for a while and let's go to the regular season of the NBA and talk about the games that were played in the early hours of today's morning and the games that were played in the early hours of tomorrow morning. Let's confirm to you that early hours of this morning, Milwaukee Bucks got the better of Detroit Pistons 126-117. Chris Middleton scored 34 points and 8 rebounds to actually help the Bucks get that win. Also, Dallas Mavericks defeated Indiana Pacers 127-104, an emphatic 23-point gap victory. Luka Doncic scoring 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists to help that win. Also, New York Knicks got the better of Houston Rockets 137-115 with quickly scoring 40 points. Phoenix Suns got the better of Utah Jazz 117-103. Philadelphia 76ers suffered a shocking loss to Denver Nuggets 116-111. New Orleans Pelicans defeated Portland Trail Blazers 124-90. That is a 34-point gap win. Brandon Ingram scoring 29 points and 6 assists to help New Orleans Pelicans with that win. Minnesota Timberwolves also defeated the Sacramento Kings 119-115. And finally, LA Clippers defeated Chicago Bulls 124-112. And moving on to games to go down in the early hours of tomorrow morning, starting from 12 a.m. Nigerian time. Boston Celtics will be up against the Washington Wizards at the Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. By 12:30 a.m., Cleveland Cavaliers will be away from home to Atlanta Hawks. Also by 12:30 a.m., Miami Heat will be in Toronto or taking on Toronto Raptors. By 1 a.m., Orlando Magic up against Memphis Grizzlies. By that same time, also Charlotte Hornets to take on OKC Thunder. And the final game for today will be at the Chase Center, where Golden State Warriors will be up against the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, quickly before we leave basketball, let's take a look at how things stand on the table. I must tell you that there are already a couple of teams that have booked a place in the playoffs already. And I can tell you from the Eastern Conference, 4 teams already have secured their place in the playoffs of this season. The number 1 team that secured the place for the playoffs in the Eastern Conference is Milwaukee Bucks, currently top of the table with 54 wins and 21 losses. They are true to the playoffs no matter what happens. Another team that is true to the playoffs from the Eastern Conference is Boston Celtics. After 52 wins and 23 losses, they have booked a place in the playoffs. Philadelphia 76ers also is true to the playoffs. And Cleveland Cavaliers also true to the playoffs. 4 teams already true to the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. Talking about the Western Conference, only 2 teams have secured a place already. And, we have Denver Nuggets. After 51 wins and 24 losses, Denver Nuggets are true to the playoffs of the NBA this season. Also, Memphis Grizzlies also are true to the playoffs of the NBA this season. These are the only 2 teams that have booked a place from the Western Conference of the NBA. Okay, leaving the NBA quickly this evening, let's take a look at the world of tennis. Let's go to Miami and talk about the Miami Open in the United States of America. Early hours of this morning and earlier today, there were a couple of games that were played and a couple of games are still being played right now. Francis Taifo was sent out in the early hours of this morning by Lorenzo Sonego in 2 straight sets, 6-3, 6-4. Yannick Sinner defeated the Russian Andrei Rublev earlier today, 6-2, 6-4 also. 2 straight sets win for Yannick Sinner. And Taylor Fritz also got the better of Rune Orjas just a couple of minutes ago. Right now, a game is going down. It is Van de Zampo Botic taking on Emily Rossovori. Botic is already 1 set up and is already leading in the second set. Later this evening, we are looking forward to a couple of more games. Karen Kachanov by 7:30 p.m. will be up against Stefanos Tsitsipas. And the current world number 1, Carlos Alcaraz, by 8:15 p.m. will be up against Paul Tommy. Now let's talk about the ladies. The ladies also are in action. Bianca Andreescu earlier today had to pull out of her game against Ekaterina Alexandrova in the second set due to an injury. And yesterday, also early hours of this morning, also Aria Sabalenka defeated Barbara Krejcikova, sent her out of the Miami Open. Later this evening by 7 p.m., just a couple of minutes from now, Elina Rybakina will be up against Martina Trevisan. Okay, moving away from tennis and let's get back to football. As you know, we are in the international break. And the players were released from their club sides to go represent their countries. Usually when that happens, there may be some casualties from the international break. And this international break is no different. There have been some casualties from this international break. And maybe some will say that the reason why some teams are coy about, releasing their players. For example, a couple of days ago, Manchester United said Marcus Rashford was injured, but miraculously, Marcus Rashford is fine now. Anyway, some of the casualties from this international break includes Chelsea right back Reece James. He had to pull out from the English national team duty due to an injury. Now we are not even sure how ready he will be for Chelsea when the club football resumes. Another casualty from this international break is Emerson Royal of Tottenham Hotspur. According to reports, he'll be out for 6 weeks after undergoing a surgery on his knee. He picked up the injury playing for Brazil against Morocco a couple of days ago. They lost anyway. Which means Tottenham Hotspur, after sacking Conte, are only left with one right wing back, and that is Pedro Porro, signed in the January transfer window. Thibaut Courtois also had to pull out from Belgium's game tonight because of an injury. We are not sure how deep or how serious this injury to Courtois is. There already talks about the fact that he may miss the upcoming El Clasico, the second semi-final game of the Copa del Rey against Barcelona. Well, maybe we can say some good news coming from this international break as Luis Diaz returns back to training for Liverpool. Marcus Rashford is also back in training for Manchester United. For more on this, let's now join the BBC for the BBC Premier League update.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Hello, I'm Mike Perkins at the BBC Sports Centre. Tottenham Hotspur's search for a new manager has thrown up a number of names. Some think Antonio Conte's assistant, Christian Stellini, wants a shot, and others are looking elsewhere in the Premier League to the likes of Roberto De Zerbi, Marco Silva and Thomas Frank. There is also talk of Mauricio Pochettino returning to the club. All that is before you consider a number of high-profile names out of work, including Julian Nagelsmann, Zinedine Zidane and Luis Enrique, the last of which former Premier League striker Chris Sutton believes would bring something Spurs want.
This appointment's going to be about brand of football as much as anything and what the Spurs fans demand, because then if trophies don't come, at least Daniel Levy will have the out that, look, I'm giving you what you want in terms of brand of football. This has been the identity we've had since the 70s, 80s, whatever. In terms of brand of football, I think they'd love Luis Enrique.
Bukayo Saka looks like being crucial to leaders Arsenal's bid to win the Premier League. He scored for England against Ukraine during the international break. Izzy Christiansen, who has played for Manchester City, Everton and Lyon, says he is ideally suited to his position.
It's clear to see that Arteta's had a really, really positive influence on him in terms of his form and recovering from that penalty miss in the Euros. And the way he's playing and the flow that he's in, the way he moves the ball, the way he moves off the ball, his holding of position, I just think he's genius. He's like the perfect winger.
And Manchester City defender Nathan Ake scored twice as the Netherlands beat Gibraltar 3-0 in Rotterdam. In another Euro 2024 qualifier, Manchester United winger Anthony Elanga scored for Sweden as they won 5-0 against Azerbaijan in Stockholm. And for more football news from the BBC, go to bbc.com/football.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Okay, welcome back from that break. And let's go straight to our Facebook fan page and see what is going on there. Engineer Beardon Olalekan, thank you so much for your contribution. Young Samo says, well done, boss. Just bored during this international break. Can't wait to see Manchester United playing. Okay, Issa Moso Balaje Oguntokon. Says this is the crucial stage of the season in the European League. Some of these players are managing their physique to avoid injuries. Some matches seem boring. Same applies to the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And on Shoma, Anthony Stallion says, my guy, 100%. Yeah, you're my guy too. Omo Yayo says, well done, sir. Thank you so much. And Akinola Dare says, well, I appreciate your contribution, but then the fact is this is a sports show. This is not a football show. So don't always expect only football stories. Because we know what your interest is, we try to make sure that most of our stories are football stories. But never forget, this is Sports Bank, which means we go around the world of sports, including basketball, tennis, boxing, and some other major sporting activities. Okay, quickly before I go, let's just confirm to you that later tonight there'll be more games in Europe and of course in Africa. In Africa tonight, later tonight there will be Algeria in action, and also later tonight Ivory Coast will be in action against Comoros Island. DR Congo also will be in action later tonight, as well as Tunisia. And for the European scenes, Spain up against Scotland later tonight. Turkey against Croatia is another game to look forward to. Switzerland versus Israel. Romania against Belarus. And talking about international friendlies, there are a couple of international friendlies you may want to look forward to. For example, by 7:45 later tonight, Germany will take on Belgium. And I can tell you, Belgium will be at least without their first choice goalkeeper, Thibaut Courtois, who has returned back to Real Madrid. Also, Morocco, the conquerors of Brazil, will take on another South American team, Peru this time, by 8:30 p.m. Nigerian time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the much that time permits me to take on Sports Bank this evening. Very many thanks to you for joining me on this evening's edition of the show. We'll be back tomorrow morning for the midweek edition of Sports Bank. Until then, enjoy the rest of your evening and bye for now.
onígbọ̀wọ́ ìrun pípè yìí ni Honourable Bímbọ́ Adékànbí. Wọ́n ṣe ládùúrà wípé kí Ọlọ́run ọba Allah gba ìrawọ́rasẹ̀ àti ìyànjú wa nínú oṣù àwẹ̀ yìí. Allahumma amin.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة